Hello, 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 everybody. What's up? Good morning for some, good afternoon for others, good evening for some, and good night. Kidding. Oh, you don't want to be here anymore, Stella? Okay. She was like, I didn't know Rosende Reads was starting. I don't want to be here. I didn't read the book. So, how is everyone? How's everything going? How has your week been? Oh my goodness, enjoy Kinky Boots, Carrie. That's dope. I'm great. I'm a little tired this morning, but I woke up like 2 hours ago and I've been running around, so I feel good. I look really happy. Yes, because I feel really happy. I saw Mumford & Sons this weekend. I spent a weekend with my dad. We went to Philadelphia for the Army-Navy game, which was dope. I've had a pretty good week. I bought a new book. I've also been reading this book. Just thought I should bring it up. It's called How to Fight by Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it is really cool. It's been helping me a lot. Very mindful. You're watching Shadowhunters. Cool. What book did you buy? I bought that one, but I bought another one. I don't know where I put it. Give me a sec. Let's look. Oh! Well, no, this isn't the book I bought. This isn't the book I bought. Oh gosh, I have a problem. I bought Chinua Achebe's second book. No Longer at Ease. Oh! This is the book I bought. There it is. My cousin recommended this to me. She said it's really interesting, so I'm going to dive in. Man created... A Theology of the Body, John Paul II. She said it was really interesting. So I'm going to take a look. So, enough about me. How many books do I usually read at once? 3. I read one that's supposed to be like a self-help acting book, something like that. I read one that's more nonfiction. And then I read our book. All right. Hold on. Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, thank you so much. That's really cool. Oh, my mom and my brother are in Cuba right now. They're in Havana at this really cool film festival. So if you want to send them hi, hello, mother dear. Hello, dearest brother. Okay, thank you, Dina Giordano. We got this. Let's dive in. I recommend The Space Within by Michael Neal. Okay, I'll look it up. Okay, so let's dive in. What does everyone think of reading? I mean, we read 120 pages. Well, we read 60 pages more than we did last week? We came into this book strong this week. So, what's everyone thinking? How are we thinking the progression of the book? How are we thinking of Star and her dealing with her life right now? What are we thinking of her? Rita, you watched the movie? Did you finish the book? I'm waiting to watch the movie till I finish, that's why. You couldn't read chapter 11, 12. That's okay. There's a really interesting transformation that happens, Mariana. I think in the where we ended, it's like a good spot. So we might talk about that, but it's not ruining anything. Put it down, even though I don't have enough time to really sit down with it. This morning I was like, I have to read a bit, and then I crushed 60 pages, just like really fast. One finished, Chekhov. I love Chekhov, so I'll definitely look that up. Right? Final part of the chapter, I need to read more. I felt the same way. I felt with Star so much. I felt whatever she felt. I have to say, Angie Thomas is doing a really brilliant job at putting us in Star's mind. And having us see the world and this whole experience through Star's eyes. I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's been very educational and very insightful and sad, but interesting and empowering. I think it's been a very cool book in that sense. Oh, you ready last year? Sorry, Rita. Do I do lives on my normal Insta? I just feel like I never have things to talk about. So on this one, we have books. You read it all at once. I read this book by myself some weeks ago, so I'm not reading along with y'all, but buckle up because one of the best and more important books I've read this year. You know, Name Remains, I agree so far already. It just, it's been, I think one of the things that's making this book very easy to kind of latch onto is that it's so interesting, but also it's the first young adult book that we've read. And I'm wondering if that plays a role in all of us really being grabbed by this book. I mean, this book is being praised as a book that's bigger than just its genre, which I think we can all already attest to. It is. But there's something in the writing that makes it just so easy to read. Just, I'm flying through it. I really like Big Mav too, Rita. I think he's dope. I think Star is brave and strong. That funeral scene was very intense. I feel so sorry for Star. We ended on a cliffhanger. I know, right? Yes, my mental voice sounds like a teenage girl all over again. I read it last year, so I'm just here listening to the discussion. Cool. I still love Star, and I really feel for her. She's in a really difficult position for anyone, but she's 16. She's been forced to grow up too fast. I think that also speaks to the nature of their environment. I mean, for me, one of the hardest things to read was after when the whole thing with Devontae comes out, about why he needs help from Big Mav in the store and what his whole situation really is. That whole ending, Big Mav says it, the lack of opportunities really does poorly for the people in this neighborhood. I would love to go to Israel one day. I don't like Star's friends from their high school. You know, it's very easy to look at them and see how small-minded and how, well, not small-minded, just how in their own bubble they are. But I think that's one thing Angie Thomas is doing really well, is allowing us to see privilege and acknowledge it in a way that a lot of other books or even just life doesn't allow you. Because when you're in it, you don't understand it. You don't see it because it's there. You only see it when you're not. And Angie Thomas is really allowing us to see this privilege in these friends. I bet they're great kids. Remember, they're all 15 and 16 years old. A little older, maybe, but they're all still teenagers. By no means should they be forced to deal with what society has thrust upon them. And it makes sense. I think we're supposed to kind of not like them because they can't understand, relate, and they don't understand. And it's not their fault. It's really easy. I really feel like Star and Chris' love story. Me too. Big Mav is a role model, so smart and wise. At first, this book doesn't seem a good book to read, but now I'm reading, it seems deeper than it looks. Okay, yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool. I appreciated in a particular way Maverick. His life was amazing. Yeah, much bigger than that. It's such a different style from what we've been reading so far, so maybe it's just a lighter read in a way. I think so too. Maybe more direct. I don't know, Jordana. Star is honestly one of my favorite, and the book is really easy to follow, and I can really picture it. I agree, Carrie. I agree with the positive things, Matt. Yes. You know, I love the fact that it's a young adult book with a strong message. But in a way, isn't that part of the young adult genre? To be this book, maybe with sometimes fantastical things, like some books that we're really aware of. Oh, I was about to show you something I took from set, but I can't because it doesn't come out yet. That was close. But don't they always talk about bigger issues that are going on in society? I mean, we could look at Shadowhunters, The Mortal Instruments, and we can see all of the themes that Cassandra Clare was commenting on. So I think that's one of the things of the genre that actually makes it the most interesting. You know what, Rebecca Rose? Yeah, it's interesting that I think it's just because it's considered like for younger people. But younger people are the ones who change the world, so. Sorry. Khalil was a good kid after all. Love the way Angie Thomas made everyone focus on that. And she did handle the privilege thing about whites very well. Very true. They're quite privileged. Yeah, that scene, the reality is beautifully written. Not too harsh, but harsh enough. She made us see the real world. More I'm reading, I'm curious. What, do you want to come up here? You gonna come up here? She gave me a look like, scoot over. Stars her dad in the car, but it made me think about the whole situation and her differently. Right? The scene with the police and Big Mav knocked me out. To have his kids see, especially Sakani, and just shatter that innocence is painful, but it's so poignant and indicative of societal climate. That is a beautifully constructed comment. I like that shattering of innocence is painful for everyone involved. And I guess that might have been the first time that Sakani was really confronted with this at such a young age, which is also just an indicator of how this society forces these kids to grow up so quickly and see things that they shouldn't. Or, unfortunately, they have. The scene with the police and Big Mad Knox, okay, I read that. Their family dynamics, they're so well written, and their relationship is very educational in a way. Hello from Charles Davis 12th grade British Lit class. Hello! Whoa! All watching the live on your active board projector. We love you. Whoa! That is awesome. Well, Charles Davis 12th grade British Lit class, if you're still watching, keep reading, keep enjoying, keep being curious. Thank you guys for tuning in. Maybe we'll get some British literature in here even more in the next year. We'll see. And maybe if you guys can send me your syllabus, we can put some books in. All right. They don't know how to emphasize, basically, and how people really felt so bad about Khalil. When Big Map tells his story, I was totally in the book. Really inspirational. Nope, don't play with that. I went to a book festival this year and got to hear Angie speak about the book. It was inspired by her own experiences when she went off to college. Wow, okay, cool. Cool. You know what? Maybe next live we'll have I'll ask one of you guys to join me on the live, and we'll have you guys kind of give a backstory for Angie Thomas. What do you guys think? Is that something someone would be interested in? Okay, I don't want to skip a lot of comments, so I'm just going to start reading through. I find the distinction between Star's two different worlds is really interesting. It gives you more of an insight into Star, and I really love her character. Okay, that's the part that I think is very interesting for me to consistently read, is these two worlds that she's a part of and how she has to bounce back and forth. Yeah, I haven't been able to formulate my ideas about that yet, but to Skywalker, so cool that we met. But also, I agree. That is one of the most fascinating things, these two worlds. And I think that's part of the problem with her other friends, like Haley and, what's the other one? Sam, I think? Sorry, I can't remember right now. But they're not a part of this other world. They have no idea of its inner workings, and their whole other world is fed to them by what they see in the media. So that's why it's so easy for them to call Khalil just a drug dealer and not a person. Why it's so easy for them to disassociate from that, because they're not a part of that world. And here we are with Star, like this liaison between both for us as an audience. It's pretty cool. I assume he's a good person. Life pushed him to those paths. I only overlooked way too much. YA novels generally have a strong message, but in between the lines. Thug is more direct. I'm at school. What are you doing right now? Sorry. Ooh, Brave New World. It's been in my mind circulating. So whenever you hear something clink and you're in a house with, I think, like cats or kids, you're always like, what broke? I started Queen of Air and Darkness. Cool. 2018, the millennials, and they basically leave their face on their phones. I don't think that's Star's place to explain to them what's racist and what's not, especially that. And there was an opportunity to meet her and get our book signed, but the line was so long. Hold on. Haley, she's really gross. You know, I think it's very easy for us to judge them, and I think especially from the way we're seeing it through stars' eyes. Yeah, it's like they just don't know, and they're not really taking any steps to learn. So I understand your position there, Rita, but I also think we need to act with more compassion. We need to act with more compassion and really... Sorry, Diego's calling me. I can't answer. I feel bad. Him and I haven't got to talk yet. So I think we have to look at compassion and say, we know that we're in our lives going to be confronted with people that might be like Haley. So how can we better that instead of it just becoming a negative reaction? Is there a way we can make it positive? That's something we have to look at our books and we have to say, what can we learn from them? And how can we better our lives because of what we've read? We could still do that, which is easy to do because I'm not going to lie, I'm annoyed with them like most of the time when they come onto the book. I'm like, gosh, her friends are so annoying. But then we could also say the same about her friend Kenya, who keeps kind of pushing her into this world between worlds, saying, well, she's not of this world because she doesn't go to these schools. And she's not of that world because she's still from this neighborhood. You know? So both of her friends, it's an interesting world to be a part of. Let's keep thinking about that, though. I'm going to head now. It's almost starting. Getting myself distracted with the live. Okay, Carrie, we'll enjoy the show. Have I read Beloved by Toni Morrison? I read Beloved in my American Lit class my senior year or my junior year. I had the same teacher senior and junior year of high school for literature. Her name was Mrs. Krugman. She was awesome. Beloved was a book that... The reason we're reading Toni Morrison again later is because of Beloved. I loved Beloved. It was one of those books that like changed my life type thing because I loved the way Toni Morrison uses the language. It's just poetic and beautiful, but I thought I connected to that book because I thought it was so well written. Loved it. So yes, loved Beloved. I love the way Angie Thomas literally gave us something so easy to connect with, but also gave us the deep message of white privilege. Or just privilege in general. Privilege exists on different levels in different ways. I think that adults should read this book. In our society, a lot of young people are racist and sometimes they don't even notice how rude their comments are. I agree. I think of all the books we've read so far, I think more people might connect to other... Wait, no, don't go in there. It's just a backpack. I agree. I think everyone should read this book. What do you think about 115's comments about he saw a brush as a gun? This is his point of view. If that's true, everything is really going to mess up. See, I think there's the rub. That's that dangerous territory that they enter. This someone's word against someone else's word. Police officers have a very difficult job. Extremely difficult. They sacrifice their lives every day to serve and protect the people. But also, we know the history of police violence in the United States. We know the history of what a lot of that was done. There's a lot packed in there. I wasn't there. I read it. I wasn't there when Khalil got shot. So I can't say that. But at the same time, I'm someone that doesn't think an unarmed civilian should ever be injured by a weapon. Much less a teenager. So that's the interesting conversation that this book is bringing about. Police brutality. All of these, I could list things, but it's sad that Star feels she has to be different in both these different worlds. I think our generation is already not nearly as racist anymore as the one before us, so I'm hopeful. Haley and Maya, thank you, Camille. And Annie, not nearly as racist, or we just have the opportunity to educate more. Because I think a lot of that comes from misinformation, from the lack of education. Actually, there's a Mark Twain quote that I will pull up for you guys right now. Well, this one's cool. This one came up by accident. I have never let my schooling interfere with my education. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. I think back then they had books and then they had travel. We have books, we have travel, which has become more affordable for the common person. For like anybody can, it's still expensive, but now it's not just this class of people that can afford to travel. Now most people can travel. Even if they save, they can travel. Back then, it was not a thing. People didn't travel as frequently. But then we also have Twitter. We also have Instagram. We have Tumblr. We have now things that connect us. I mean, how many people from different countries are we talking to right now for Rosende Reads? I think the opportunity for education and to learn about people other than what you hear is a lot more present. So I think naturally that'll make the world a little bit better. And then we're reading more books. And Rita, to your comment there, you don't have to be racist to say racist things. I think part of the problem with this privilege and this idea of racism is that it's so embedded in our society that oftentimes we don't understand the origins of certain things people say, or they don't really understand, or they haven't really thought about why they're saying what they're saying and then where it came from and what it means. So that's why you have to have that compassion for education and the opportunity to learn, but also hold people accountable. It's a very thin, it's a middle line. I read books in Spanish sometimes. I should read more. So we're talking about Chris now. Jordana says he has the white privilege, yes, but he does try to understand Star's point of view and make things right. I can't say many people actually do that. I think the first step is trying to understand. So Chris is moving in the right direction. I like him too. I think he's nice. And I think him and Star do have a really cool connection. This book is full of strong parts. Star is young and strong with her fears. Yes. Well, we shouldn't just hate on white privileged people either. I mean, the point is to be accepting, understanding. This book is helping me in a way I never thought it would. Being that I have a mixed sister, it makes me think of how many others are being judged or torn down by others due to the lack of understanding. The lack of understanding, I think, is a deep thing. And that's why we read books. They help us understand and they help us feel understood. John Green. Still love that quote. I don't like Kenya. She wants Star to choose a drawer to be put in. Yeah. But at the same time, if you look at Kenya's life, you could see maybe she's a little jealous of Star. Star has a family that's wholesome and loves her and doesn't beat her. Like, there's no violence in the home. And she has the opportunity to leave the neighborhood and go to a better school and become a better person and become like a person that, a better person in that sense. She gets that education. She gets to get those opportunities that Big Mav is so adamant don't come in to the neighborhood. That's why they're sending her to that school outside of it. So Kenya, maybe she's coming from this place of jealousy, this place of anger that she doesn't get those opportunities. I feel bad more than I don't like. I mean, I think she's kind of rude, but like to Star, but sometimes you can do everything right and things will still go wrong. The key is to never stop doing right. So motivating. I agree. Oh, good luck. I love Beloved. I like Chris, but I have a feeling she'll end up with Devante. Kenny and Star's relationship also are saying, oh, it's crazy how she handles these different relationships and she keeps different parts of herself in different places. I'm quoting students next to me as we're talking about the book. Okay, keep doing that. Isn't the point that color shouldn't matter? But then don't hate on her for having a white boyfriend either. I think when it comes to facing ignorance and privilege, it's important to start the conversation and not react in a negative way instantly. And to explain and educate others and not go, okay, I missed that second part, sorry. But with Kenya, it's understandable because of King and how horrible he treats his wife and his kids. I'm not saying that it's an excuse, but you can understand where his snarkiness comes from. Exactly. I think that a great follow-up to read after this book would be Why Am I No Longer Talking to White People About Race? Interesting. I'll look it up, but we already have a book planned. But I'll look it up to maybe put in this round. That's pretty cool. I do think 115 was afraid of getting shot, which is why he reacted that way. Interesting. Chapters that we read showed us stars and her folk sides, but I want to see I want to see 115's thoughts too. Like Miss Oprah said, maybe the brush thing was true. I hope we can read both sides next chapters. True. Kind of a catch-22 in a way. Yes. Love when you guys use stuff like that. Have I read The Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood? No, I've not. Totally suggested. I will look into it because I really loved reading Margaret Atwood, so I would love to read more of her. We were supposed to read up until, I think, was it chapter 13? Page 220? Yeah, up to chapter 13, so through chapter 12. I 100% on your gun stance. The problem is that government is cumbersome, no matter how much we point out the Second Amendment was made several hundred years ago. Sacred and permanent. We're not going to have a long discussion about the Second Amendment. You can believe in the Second Amendment and still believe in sensible gun control. Yeah, come on up. So, yeah, we're not going to dive into that talk today. It's going to be a long talk. Maybe one day we'll have one, but not today. Movie was very good. You'll find some differences, as usual. Twitter's toxic for the most part. But, like every other medium that's ever happened, radio, TV, even papers, at one time everyone was like, no, they're negative. That's not the way people do things. I mean, you can think about the television that way. And then now the TV was great. And then we got the internet. And at first everyone's like, the internet's a scary place, blah, blah, blah. Now we're like, no, now we jump in random cars with strangers. And now we talk to people across the world. And it's not weird. For every negative, there's always a positive side. We just have to find it. And Twitter can be toxic, but can also be immensely informative. And we can communicate. And, I mean, we discuss about when to meet for Rosende Reads on Twitter sometimes. So it's very important. Oh my gosh, time is flying by. Oh, cool, from North Carolina. What's up? This book is really interesting to read because we don't have this kind of racism in our country. But different kind, not color, different nationality or race. I don't know. Well, where are you from? I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name. I would feel very bad if I did. But I just read your comment. If you could tell me where you're from, that'd be great. And if you want to expand on that, by all means, you're more than welcome to. I like that Star feels she can be normal around Chris. I think it shows that she's willing to be open-minded and understand. He's willing to be open-minded and understand where she comes from. I agree. Chris straddles a fine line. There's a difference between trying to make her feel comfortable and trying to be black himself. I think this makes me a little wary of him. Interesting. Okay. So you think Kenya wants Star to join her in her misery? No, I just think people say things that might hurt other people to make themselves feel better. Rarely, ever, does it have anything to do with the other person. I mean, we read that in To Kill a Mockingbird. Never let what someone says about you hurt you, because they're only speaking about themselves. So I think when Kenya says this, she's speaking about her lack of opportunity. She's speaking about a bunch of things. I don't think she wants Star to join in her misery. I think it's a defense mechanism to kind of cope with that, maybe. Or something like that, along those lines. Our teacher says, we have a lot more in common than you think. We're breathing the same air. Our hearts are pumping the same blood to keep us alive. So ignore the small things like color. I like that. I like that a lot. Star could have been like Kenya. Absolutely. Totally gives me on this, but as part of the community, I used to get a lot of not very nice comments back in high school. Sometimes you try to educate people. You know, Star's dad is black. I think he's kind of racist too because he doesn't like white people. Well, we'll talk about that later. The crazy thing about this book is that you see all these people's perspectives and you get scared, but then it's good. Do you understand how you can help and be better react? Exactly. Chris and Star for me. I hope Star tells Chris and confides in him. Me too. But then, you know, Star's fear is also getting Chris in trouble because he's, you know, her boyfriend. And then there's that whole thing. That's something that... It's interesting to read this book about someone who has all of the ability to speak up. She was there. But then these different fears and ideas from both communities. One being like she didn't tell... I mean, Star's fear that the community will find out that she didn't tell the police the right thing and that it's her fault that they're choosing not to go forward. That's sad. That's hard. I can't imagine being in that position. This book helps a little bit, but wow, the fact that she feels she can't speak up because of both sides. That's an interesting thing. She's constantly torn between two worlds. I understood that. I know, I'm so behind. Okay, are you guys ready? I'm going to skip all the way to the top of the comments. I am so sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, gosh, I skipped a bunch. And I still didn't see what country you're from because I have to skip. Okay, I'm skipping down to the bottom. I'm going all the way to the bottom. We're starting fresh. Boom. I'm back. I'm all the way down at the bottom. The protest to get out of school was messed up. Well, because for them, the whole world was a non-issue. That's one of the things that I think we have to look at. The privilege of that school. Because for them, they're like, yo, we can use this to get a day off. They're not Star, who lives in that environment, who sees that world and has a knowledge of it that's deeper than what they hear on the news. So while I'm annoyed by these high school kids that are doing this, I also recognize that privilege. I've seen it before. I went to high school like that. I'm like, okay. And the name remains. A black person not liking a white person is prejudice. It's not racism because prejudice needs to come from a position of privilege and ability to exercise power. Prejudice. In order to be racism, it needs to come from a position of privilege and ability to exercise power over the other. That's what I was I didn't want to dive into when someone commented on earlier, but name remains. Thank you for posting that. It's institutional. Yes, love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I started watching it after they got canceled, then came back, so I watched it. It's pretty good. Rita, they saw the protest as a way to skip chemistry tests. Like, could they be more dumb than this? Really, I just see it as a lack of understanding. Because I honestly think that if you sat anybody down and you explained to them anything in a way that they connect, they would understand. But often they don't get that chance to be explained to. They don't take the chance to learn. And that's why you get that dumb protest. This book is full of great argument. The racism in the social world, Star's perspective. I'm back. All right. I hate the high school kids would do everything just to save class. I'm also a high school kid, and it's kind of weird that my generation is so annoying to me. No. I felt like that in high school sometimes. It's okay. And that doesn't change after high school. It happens. So the class and I are wondering if we should read to 20. To 20. Let's see. Hold on. We'll do that right now so we can talk a little longer. Let's see, 13. How long until we finish? We still have 200 pages left. Because we split it in half, it's going to be... All right. No, we're going to read from here, because we can read a lot more. This book is so good. We're going to read to page 370, to part 5. And that gives us 70 pages at the end. But we'll talk about that at the end. But read to part 5. Yeah. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. Part 3. We're going to read to part 3. So that we can have 2 more meetings. Unless we want to just finish it. Do you think we should just finish the book? Because I know all of us want to read all of it. It costs more than an apple. I love that part too. Up to part 3. Part 3 okay? Do you guys want to finish it? We want to finish it, right? British Lit, we want to finish it. Everyone else, we want to finish it, yeah? Because we are about to hit our Christmas break, where we kind of all go home, we read our own stuff over break. I'm reading, if you guys want to see what I'm reading for Christmas break, I'm going to finish this book, and I'm reading The Outpost by Jake Tapper, which is the untold story of an American outpost in the Nuristan province of Afghanistan. My dad was actually in Afghanistan at the same time that this book talks about, which I thought was pretty cool. So that's why I'm reading it. I'm actually learning a lot about what was going on around there and then what my dad's mission was when he was there. Yeah, but then we come back strong with Into the Wild. Okay, I'm scrolling back. I think we should finish it. I've already finished it. Can we finish it? Tish Skywalker, okay. I want to finish it. We could finish it, but then we won't get to see you 2 times again. Okay, I've got half finishes. Okay, you know what, guys? We're gonna make that a poll. But if we finish it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give ourselves, instead of 1 week, we're gonna give ourselves a little longer, because I'm gonna be traveling a bit, so I want to make sure we have the time. It is easy, fast reading. Yeah, I've decided I'm going to keep the stash and just grow the rest of my beard to meet it. I don't even know what to vote if you make a poll. Finish. Everyone's saying finish it. I think what we'll do is we'll finish it. Where am I traveling? I will tell you in a minute. I think what we do is we finish it, and we'll give ourselves more than a week. So I'll think about that. I'll get back to you guys, but we're going to finish it. But we'll give ourselves enough time so that we still have one more meeting, but it's not going to be like a long time. Now we're going to have, it'll probably be like a week and a half, but we're going to finish it. Where am I traveling? I'm going to Toronto to scoop Tessa up, and then we're going to Prince Edward Island to spend some time with her family. And then I'm going to Miami to see my family, and then my parents and I are actually going to Europe for New Year's, which is going to be pretty cool. My parents and my brother and I. It's going to be pretty cool. Specifically Germany. But that's all I know right now. My parents made the plans. So finish it, and we'll talk about it. We still have about 10 minutes. All right? I haven't seen the Avengers trailer. I don't watch trailers because I don't want to spoil anything. Like, especially the Avengers movies. I don't watch trailers. Yeah, I'm very excited. I haven't had a trip with my parents in a long time. So it's going to be cool to spend a lot of time with them. But let's finish. We have about 20 minutes left. We probably have 10 because I have to drive somewhere far. All right. Thank you, class, for joining me. That's awesome. So we have about 10 minutes left. Let's do a few quotes now that we know that we're going to finish the book and we're going to move forward from there. Do I get scared traveling? No, I get excited traveling. I mean, I get nervous sometimes just about, like, I hope I find somewhere really good to eat. But, no, I love traveling. Love traveling. There was a period of time, though, I did become afraid of being on a plane. Like, it used to make me nervous. But I got over that. Because I just decided. I was like, no, I'm not going to be scared of this anymore. It's dumb. And for me, I'm not saying it's dumb to be afraid of it. It makes a lot of sense to be afraid of being on a plane. But I decided. Let's talk about her dad. No, he's not. He's not. Think in terms of equality and inclusion. The latter, equality, implies that there is someone in power who is allowing you to join. Equality sets everyone on the same plane. Just a thought that struck me. The thing about the fact that funerals are for the living was very strong. Well, we talked about that, if you remember, in Tuesdays with Maury. He talks about that. Funerals are the living. So he had his living funeral so that he could be a part of it and enjoy it and hear the beautiful things people said about him. I got nervous because I read a book about how there's so many places I never knew. Yes, that is still a very unfortunate thing. And unfortunately, you have to be vigilant and careful. And it's good to look up before you go places. But generally, I've only had wonderful experiences traveling, and I've met beautiful people around the world. We're currently reading The Hate You Give. Love you isn't as forward or aggressive as I love you, or different. Love you can slip up on you, sure, but it doesn't make an in-your-face slam dunk. More like a nice jump shot. Totally agree. Goodbyes hurt the most when the other person's already gone. Oh, that was heavy. What's the point of having a voice? All right, guys, my brother's been calling me, so I think I'm going to call him back. Is that okay if we end our live here? I know it's a little early. Is that okay with everyone? Oh, I love the book had that effect for you. That's amazing. All right, guys, I'm going to call my brother back. He's called me twice now, 4 times total. We will speak. I will post online. I will give us that time, and I will make sure we're going to finish the book, and I'll make sure we have enough time to read it. Promise. Thank you guys so much for today. It was an awesome discussion. We flew through that. That was awesome. But remember, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep being curious, and continue to be positive forces of change to your environment. This week's challenge, think of being compassionate. When someone upsets you, when someone annoys you, take that extra breath to put yourselves in their shoes and try to say, if it were me, what would make me say something or do something like this? What mindset would I have to be to think this was okay? And a lot of the time when you do that, you'll discover people are people. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Have a great week, rest of the week, and until next time.